My understanding of that misinformation in science is that science is a process, and is a process that generates knowledge. The problem is that it's complex, and so it doesn't necessarily convince always the people.
I think from a science perspective, first you think like scientific information is like a hard fact, but there is probably often a lot of layers of interpretation, or information is contextual. So it depends. I think it depends on different aspect whether information is treated as misinformation. But I mean, what we see lately is that there is a tendency to falsify information, right? To get to a certain objective, especially in social media.
To me, the misinformation is really to use some of the scientific statements in ways that are not accurate, that do not reflect the reality. They are brought to extreme levels. So, for example, we know that this is good, this is bad, this works, this doesn't work. Science is not about that. Science is really about always creating doubts, looking for improvement about the knowledge. So it's really, to me, the misinformation is to create strong belief about, or strong disbelief about science and skepticism, but this is not what science does.
Different types of misinformation is where we do know actually what the impact is going to be, but that this information is used by certain groups because they like the outcomes, and this is ignored by other groups who do not like the outcome, and then the information itself becomes the subject of a political game, or political, and then basically is reinforced through social media, what we see very much today. So that's a very different type of misinformation. But in terms of how it affects people, it may be just as important.
Yeah, I mean, I think that climate change doesn't exist. That I think it's the weirdest and the most dangerous misinformation that I think is going around lately. Yeah.
Weird misinformation that I come across is, I think it's all related to whether things are good or bad. No, so for example. Things about what you can do with genetics and with the genes, that things cannot be, that people don't understand what genetic is, and then they make assumption about something which is completely out of scientific context about whether gene editing or some other understanding of genetics is actually something that can be damaging to the environmental health or to people's health. And I think this is where there are, to me, it's weird because it's not really based on science.
Technology, GMOs. You know, there is a lot of information out there. Oh, people might grow horns, others grow I don't know what if they consume, which is really misinformation, you see. But because if they got the right information today, they'll say, let the researchers do the research and be thorough with their research, because we have systems that are looking at different aspects of the GM research, the regulators who can verify that this technology being developed or has been developed is actually good for increased production.
The impact can be very significant, okay, because if misinformation leads to not adoption of certain technologies, not changes in policies which are harmful for the environment or are not contributing to sustainable productivity growth, I mean, these are really very important things.
I think we need to rely a lot on awareness. I think we need the communication, the TV, the knowledge. We need to, not just to produce our scientific paper, which is something we scientists like to do, but we need to be able to communicate things also for the general public to really understand what it's all about and to really understand what is the potential. When we produce agroecology, to go to the other example, we produce healthy food, we produce safe food, we produce nutritious food. And if people understand that this is good for their health, is good for their children, is good for the mothers, I think they will start being more supportive of it and maybe reduce a little bit their lack of understanding of what it is about.